Welcome, everyone. Today's resume webinar. My name is Michelle Rapp from the Office of Alumni Relations, and I'm being assisted here by Diana Bronchuk. We're really excited to have Jen McDuffie and her colleague Amanda joining us today. Resumes are one of those things that the approach changes all the time, and you can never have enough good advice. So we have the experts here for you today. I want to tell you a little bit about alumna Jen McDuffie. She started the Resume Chick and Company to help anyone who wanted to further their education or career. Now she leads a team of writers and editors with the primary goal of consulting and collaborating for the client's success. As a certified professional resume writer, her mission is to help her clients to engage, inform, and captivate readers by providing content that highlights their best endeavors on paper. Jen and her business take pride in being the point where creativity, research, technology, and experience converge to offer a seamless career support experience. And Jen has her bachelor's in technical communications and Master of Science in corporate and organizational communications from Northeastern. So we welcome her today as a double husky. It's all yours, Jen.
Hi guys, I'm Jheneal and this is Amanda. We do want to welcome you to 4 ways to convert your resume to an interview and what to do when you get it. We are super excited to share our background with you and share the tips. Just to kick us off, we actually have a team of 7 and we're spread out all across the US. We have Dallas, Boston, we have Atlanta, Amanda's in Jacksonville, and I'm in Orlando. We've been in business for a little over 2 years, and it started with just me, and now we have that team, and we just love to share everything that we know, and we are going to jump right into our presentation. Okay, so just a few housekeeping rules before we get started. We have you on mute to make sure that we minimize the background noise, but feel free to use the raise your hand feature or IM us. If you have any questions that you want us to address and you're not comfortable doing so in this forum, feel free to email us. Our email is right there on the screen for you, resumes@theresumechick.com. And this session is going to be interactive. We want you to respond to questions, so we're going to throw some polls out there, and there are some prizes for those who are paying attention.
All right, so let's jump right in. We never want to assume that everyone knows exactly what to put on a resume. We actually posed this question on our social media and we got a number of responses. Some were right on, some were close, and some not so much. So we are here to kind of clear this up for you. There are 5 basics of the resume. As you can see here, we have your contact information, summary, skills, work experience, and education. Now, you can add some additional sections to mention affiliations and volunteerism, but we always want to start with these 5 basics.
Okay, so let's go through the list for contact information. We've highlighted a few sections because we wanted to make it a point to emphasize the importance of having accurate professional information. So we're going to start off with name, email, phone number, LinkedIn, and then your address. We emphasize important, accurate, and professional information, and we're going to give you a few examples of what to avoid. We actually had a client that applied for a federal job, and her email was one that she had from high school. I won't share hers, but I'll share mine. My high school email is jmickey05@yahoo.com, something that I just would never put on a resume, and we don't recommend it here as well. Sorry about that. We wouldn't recommend putting an unprofessional email on your resume. So something along the lines of your name or your initials, like jheneal.wilson@yahoo.com or al.donaldson22@gmail.com. And funny enough, we've actually had clients put incorrect phone numbers on their resume as well. We had one specific one that was off by 1 digit, and it looks like the recruiter had been trying to contact her. Unfortunately, her emails were going to spam and her phone number is incorrect. So we always stress that you make sure that your phone number is correct on your resume. And that's a quick fix. So I have a question for you guys. Do you use a summary or objective? And I'm going to put the poll out there. Okay, so we have a good number of responses. 6 of you all said summary, and another 4 said objective. And actually, the standard today is summary. So in the past, resume writers, recruiters, staffing agencies, they wanted to know exactly what you were looking to get out of the job search. And the objective statement would be the preference, and it would sound something along the lines of obtain an entry-level position with a social media company, very generic. The objective typically says, hire me. I would like a job somewhere that I might fit in a company that I might fit in. So not very clear. The summary, on the other hand, says, connect with me. Hire me because of how I can benefit you and your company. And it sounds different. It's completely different. It's focused on you and your accomplishments. So for instance, just a quick summary would be accomplished leadership professional with 20 years of management, claims, and call center experience. And then you can go into a bulleted list of your major accomplishments, successes, projects, anything that you want to shout out at the top of your resume.
All right, so let's move into your skills. Now, there are different types of skills. We want to highlight hard skills and soft skills. So, for example, hard skills, those are objective. These are kind of skills you either have them or you don't. These are teachable abilities. They're things that you can learn in a classroom setting through reading or training. And then we have soft skills. These are subjective people skills like communication, leadership, problem solving, and teamwork. We also want to take a look at competencies. Now, these are core skills that can relate to the position. So, for example, strategic planning, customer service, training, and development. So, employers are looking for well-rounded candidates. So, they want to see a hybrid of skills. So, think about these type of questions. Do you work well on a team? Do you take initiative for projects? And are you great at building relationships?
Thanks, Amanda. Okay, so when you're doing the work experience section, we're just breezing through some foundational items. So when you're talking about your work experience, you want to have, of course, the company name, the dates that you were employed, and you have to include the months so that recruiters can connect the dots between. Don't try to hide if you have any gaps in your work experience because they will find out. But moving on to the job summary, you want to think about why you were hired, who did you work with, how many people were on your team, how many people you're responsible for, and some primary functions related to your position. And then, of course, you want to pull out of all that you just documented, what are some key accomplishments? Why did you do the work that you did, and what made it important? So I know a lot of folks like to do bullets, and some folks like to do paragraphs. You want to find a balance between the two. So when it comes to education, this part is super easy peasy. The name of the institution, location, degree, your major or your minor. If you have a dual, if you have a dual degree, you want to have your anticipated or actual completion date and any honors listed. If you don't have a formal education, formal post-secondary education, you can feel free to substitute with like current trainings or any self-development that you're engaged in. So let's see, what's up next? Okay, so we have pop quiz. This one is for, let's see, Target gift card?
I think
Let's
so.
do a Target gift card. Who can tell us what are the 5 foundational resume sections? You can feel free to put it in the instant message box or the chat box. Looks like we have a few answers coming in. Again, that was, what are the 5 foundational resume sections? Okay, so we actually have the correct answer. And I don't want to not say your name correctly. I'm just going to take a shot at it. Mandover, contact information, summary, skills, work experience, and education. Congratulations, you got yourself a Target gift card. All right, we are going to jump right into the facts.
All right, so we built the foundation. We went over all the main parts of the resume. So now we want to take a look at the facts. Those are the format, the appearance, content, Tailor, and then we're going to summarize. All right, so let's take a look at the format. There are 3 resume types that you can use to present yourself in the best light. So let's take a look at those 3. So we've got reverse chronological. So this is going to really highlight candidates with 10 years or more of work experience. This is something you'd use if you're not switching careers, you don't really have any gaps in work history. So reverse chronological is really experience-based. Then we have the hybrid resume. This is great for someone who's just getting out of college that may have internship or volunteer experience. It's also going to be really great for a candidate with professional years of work experience that is thinking about switching fields. So this is going to be a mix of highlighting skills and that experience. And then we have a functional resume. Now the functional resume is all skill-based. This is going to highlight skills that would fit the position that you're applying for. All right. So next, we are going to take a look at the appearance of the resume. So we're going to show you these 2 types of resumes here. Now, at first glance, which do you think looks more vibrant, eye-catching? Which resume would you want to read? We're going to send out a poll here, so make sure we participate. Let's get a poll going. And give us just a second here.
Okay, so it looks like we're having a little bit of issue with our polling, so we're just going to ask you to use the chat. Do you think the left or the right one looks better, more appealing?
I definitely agree. The right, definitely.
Thank you for the responses. Same here. So what do you guys think, left or right? I should have switched it up.
Absolutely, I agree with you. All right, so just to kind of talk about the appearance a little bit, we just want to kind of emphasize that your resume does not have to be boring. It should fit the industry that you're aspiring to work in. So things we always recommend when it comes to the appearance, there should be enough white space. It should be well organized, definitely easy to read, and visually appealing.
Thank you, Amanda. Okay, so we're going to move on to content, and we're going to focus a little bit on resume power words, skills, quantifiable results, and keywords. Actually, Amanda, what's your favorite power word?
I really like to use the word helmed. I also like to use the word rescued. It really draws you in.
Okay, this is the nerdy side. So shout out your favorite power word, your favorite resume power word. What do you like to use? Okay, we have some responses coming in. Initiated, I love it. Developed, implemented. Directed, I missed that one. That's good. I love the engagement.
Yeah.
Calculated. Okay, awesome. We have a few more responses coming in. I actually like to use boosted, outperformed, amplified. Amanda loves rescued. That's one of her favorites. All right, so we actually have a few power words here. And anyone who signs up for anything resume check related typically gets this in their package. It just helps you to start your resume off with leading with powerful words. I'm going to jump right over to the skills section again.
Absolutely. So we talked about those hard skills, the soft skills, and the core competencies. So this is where we want to highlight those. So we want to come up with a list of skills that relate to the position or industry you're targeting. The skills section should consist of about 8 to 12 competencies. So you definitely want to check the job description and make sure those match. And whatever your strengths are, this is where you're going to highlight them in a bulleted list so that we can really show those skills up front.
Okay, perfect. So next we're going to tailor the resume. This is where, of course, you customize your resume to the position that you're applying for. You want to make sure that it stands out and that you're the best fit. So that's how you leverage your transferable skills. Make sure the resume matches what you're applying for. So for instance, if you're applying for a federal position, you want to focus on a federal resume. It's going to look completely different from one of those who, is applying for some sort of financial position at a private company. A federal resume is like 3 to 5 pages, and a normal resume is about 1 to 2 pages. If you're looking for a job as a healthcare administrator, you want to focus on skills that are relevant to those positions. And technology that is relevant and so on. So if you're thinking about switching fields, you may want to put a note at the top of your resume that says like position for success in, and you fill in the blank there. So we're going to show you what we mean at the end of this, just to kind of paint the picture for you. I'm going to jump right over to summary. So this is the S and facts. And this is just a snapshot of a summary that we recently completed for one of our clients. And after you complete your work experience in the skills section, you want to write a summary that really speaks to those main key points that you're trying to show that you're trying to demonstrate to a recruiter. Your resume, they have about 10 to 15 seconds when they're looking at resumes. And so the professional summary really needs to capture what you're trying to say or whatever you're trying to convey. You want to put your best and most relevant results up front. Again, because they don't have time to read through everything. All right, we got another one.
Time for another pop quiz.
Should we do Starbucks or Dunkin'? I don't know, they're from up north. They might like Dunkin'. Let's do Dunkin'.
Let's do Dunkin'.
Okay.
All right, so this pop quiz, let's jump back to those formats. Now, which resume type would you use for an applicant who has minimal work experience but has years of volunteer experience? So we'll ask you to enter this in the chat. So who's going to win that Dunkin'? We'll give you just a few more responses. All right, great. Hybrid it is. Hybrid it is.
And so the reason for doing a hybrid resume is to showcase that they do have, let's just say they had continual volunteer experience. It's still work. They still have work experience there that may overshadow the fact that they have a minimal work experience, their actual professional work history. And looks like we have one that said functional. We could potentially use that, but I think that's why we went with the hybrid, because it showcases more of their transferable skills, but still showing that they had that work experience.
So great job. All right, so we are going to move into what we call the conversion funnel. So first we want to talk about awareness. When we look at a resume, we want to build awareness. We want to draw the reader's attention to what you're good at. So this is where we highlight your skills. We want to create that awareness.
And so creating that awareness, it leads to interest. That interest is also created by making assumptions on what the recruiter wants to see. So let's just say you pull up a job description, and for our clients, we actually have an applicant tracking system where we scan any position that they are thinking about applying for, and we pull keywords and different skills, and we align those with the skills that they currently have or whatever position they're currently in, and see what is transferable and how we can showcase that on the resume. And of course, the desire comes from pulling in notable and quantifiable results, which helps to bolster the resume. And of course, the action is it's not on you. That's coming from the recruiter. So A, I, and D, you have control over awareness and desire, but that action is going to be on the recruiter. And everything that you do for awareness, interest, and desire is going to trigger that recruiter to take that action. Just keep this in mind when you're applying for positions too. Recruiters actually want to find good candidates. The thing is that they're working with 1,000 candidates and they only have a short time to make decisions. And so it's easy for you to use your resume as a tool to get where you want to go by basically putting yourself on a silver platter with all of your skills that they need to make the right decision.
All right, let's put it all together. So we talked about the different parts of the resume, and so this is what the outcome would look like. Here you see at the very top, of course, with the red arrow, here's all your contact information, so they can give you a call or email. We see your professional summary at the top is really highlighting those key accomplishments, showing exactly who you are and what you can do for the company. You'll see the bulleted list of skills, again, up front, showing what you have to offer. And then below is the professional experience. So your job description, your quantifiable results, and then we'll round it out with your education there to show what you look for. All right, so let's switch gears a little bit. We have the pop quiz.
And we're going to take a second to do another pop quiz. We just love giving away stuff.
That one popped up on me.
Okay, so for this pop quiz section, what are the 4 areas of the conversion funnel? Use the chat box. Right on, M2. Did you just win 2 gift cards? Okay, looks like we have a few more. Awesome, you guys are nailing it. Looks like y'all were paying attention. Okay, good deal.
All right, so
let's take a look here. So we wanted to share just a few other interview tips as well. This is kind of a bonus. And at the end of it, we'll need to collect those email addresses so that we could send over those gift cards for you.
Yeah, so we're going to kind of switch gears. So we want to share some interview tips. You've got the resume, so now what?
Okay, so we usually begin our interview sessions with mock interviews to kind of check the status, and then we move on to Q&A, the breakdown, and then, of course, the official mock interview. We're sharing this because interviews are not something that we do every day, and it's not second nature. We always encourage that you start practicing long before you even apply for the job. And we're saying that because you will typically find out, and some companies are strategic about doing this. You'll apply on Monday, you'll find out you have an interview on Tuesday, and the interview is for Thursday. So if you're actually seriously thinking about applying for a position, make sure that you're ready and start practicing. Interviewers actually form opinions about your personality and your intelligence within 30 seconds. So you literally have 10 to 15 seconds on your resume, and then 30 seconds. Make sure that you are practicing your interview and rehearsing your opening. We cannot stress that enough. It's great to have an awesome resume and you finally get the interview, because that's the whole purpose of a resume. But when you get that interview, you got to be prepared. So that is all we have to share with you today. We enjoyed the interaction, and we actually are going to put our social media into the chat box. So you can find us on Facebook at that address or on Instagram at that address. We're always posting content that's relevant and talking about skills and interview tips and what your resume should look like. So feel free to reach out to us there. And we also have our email in the chat box coming your way one more time. So if you guys, again, want to ask us questions, please feel free to email us at resumes@theresumechick.com. We are always willing to assist, and we love to talk to, or I do anyway, Northeastern alumni. All right, well, do you guys have any questions? Okay, so Michelle asked if we can give some advice about applicant tracking systems. And I briefly mentioned applicant tracking systems a couple minutes ago. It's basically a robot. It is how you get into a company before you meet the recruiter, because companies have such a high volume of applicants sometimes. They'll need to have something to weed out the folks who don't fit. And how they do that is by attaching skills. Oh, sorry, Diana just sent over another question. They attach skills to the positions, and then they match those skills to your resume. So when we initially run the applicant tracking system check to see what skills you have, we you want to add on? We make sure that you're matching your skills to their skills so that you can have a better chance of getting through that robot.
Yeah, so basically once you get through the robot, that's when the recruiter would take that second look, and that's when they would see those quantifiable skills.
And I'm sure if you go on to any major corporation, any like statefarm.com, Allstate, or anything along those lines, and you go to apply, you'll see something along the lines of like Tailor or iSIMS. Those are applicant tracking systems. And another thing that I wanted to mention as a bonus, they have applicant tracking systems that are scanning simultaneously your LinkedIn profile and your any other social media networks along with your resume. So if you do not have your LinkedIn updated, I suggest that you get that updated as soon as possible, because if there's a difference, or if there's a choice for them to make with someone who has a LinkedIn and has a great resume and someone who has a great resume and no LinkedIn, they're probably going to choose the person that has the LinkedIn. And partly because LinkedIn shows your human side, your human professional side, and they want to know who they're talking to. And your LinkedIn just kind of, it gives them that added advantage. And you can put keywords into your LinkedIn as well. Diana had a question, where can we build the visually cool resumes? So there are a lot of resume tools. I particularly stay away from those only because applicant tracking systems, a lot of them aren't applicant tracking systems friendly. So you can, play around with certain templates on Word, PowerPoint, even Canva. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of Canva, but even Canva has resume templates. A lot of cool resume templates are out there, and people will fill in the blanks, and they're not hearing back from employers because the applicant tracking system is reading it in incorrect areas. So let's just say you apply for a position and you have this awesome, beautiful resume. That's fantastic, but then it's saying your name is education, and all these different areas are kind of jumbled, and the system doesn't know how to pick it up, so it bumps you out for the position.
To jump in with that, when you have a really cool visual resume, you're going to use that if you were to hand it to someone on a piece of paper or an email. But when it goes back to the applicant tracking systems, you're going to use more of the text version. Mm-hmm. So what we always recommend is that when you build your resume, you definitely want to have that visually cool layout. But what you're going to also do is save that as a text document so that you have just the content to submit online.
And so we can take that as an offline question as well if anyone wants to chat with us about it. You can email us and just ask us about applicant tracking systems and how to convert your resume. So you'll have to go in and save it as a .txt, and we can walk you through the entire process for those who aren't familiar. It just it takes out all of the extras, and it just leaves the text so that it's easy to read within applicant tracking systems. And Sislin looks like asked, how do I link my LinkedIn? You just type linkedin.com /n/ whatever your LinkedIn name is. There's a way for you to copy and paste your link and stick it in your resume, and we can actually show you how to shorten your link as well to remove all those numbers attached to it. So if you want to email us, that would be awesome. And so Michelle asked, for experienced professionals, how many years of experience do you need to include on your resume?
That's a great question.
That's a fantastic question. We get that almost every day. So we say 10 years, that's standard. However, some folks may have years of experience, which we actually just had a client who wanted to go back to his roots, and he had all this experience from like 20 years ago, and he wasn't sure how to include it. So we noted it at the bottom underneath his more current work experience as prior positions of note. And then we spoke about those skills from those prior positions in his summary, and then gave the professional history.
Right. So the purpose of doing that is to make sure that we show the most relevant information, but we don't want to forget about those accomplishments. So that's why we highlight those in the summary, so that we still visit what you've done, but kind of focus on, what you've done more, recently.
Any other questions?
Great questions, guys.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for the participation. We enjoyed interacting with you. And again, our email and social media link is in the chat box, so feel free to reach out.
Make sure you send those email addresses for those gift cards.
And thank you, Jen and Amanda. This was so engaging. I didn't believe you could cover this topic in a half an hour, but you did. This is our first time offering a half-hour webinar, and it was great having the two of you as a tag team, the beautiful visuals, the great advice, and that was very generous of you to keep us engaged with some pop quizzes and some prizes. So you made resumes fun, and I really appreciate your taking the time for both of you to join us and share your expertise. Thank you so much, and thanks for the participation from all the attendees.
Thank you, Michelle. We really appreciate it, and hopefully we get to do some more of this soon.
Thank you, guys.
Wonderful. Thanks, everyone.